All right, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us on the Mommy Pod. Can you start by sharing a bit about your story and what led you to this point in your journey as a solo single mom?
I got married in 1998. I met my now ex-husband in college, and I was married about 8 years when I had our daughter. And um, I, um, over time, the marriage was almost 23 years, and just increasing a lot of domestic violence. Nothing like the burning bed type stuff where you see on TV, but just subtle mental and emotional things that kept building and building. And I took the leap. I left him in April of 2021 because I was concerned about how it was affecting kids. It didn't matter to me how it was affecting me, but I was really worried about the kids' mental health. My children are both on the autism spectrum disorder. And I was very concerned about my daughter's mental health and how the marriage was affecting her. And so I did a quiet plan and readied myself as much as I could. And I called the cops and made the leap and jumped out of there and filed for divorce and got some help about how to navigate that. So the divorce was final in April of this year. And in 2021, my ex husband decided he would want to split the children up. So he stopped seeing our daughter right away. And then about a year later, quit seeing our son. So I became a solo single mom because you just choose to walk out of the picture. And so I was a stay-at-home mom before, and I homeschooled my kids. Even like before COVID, I homeschooled my daughter. So it's been a real struggle since then. And I consider myself very proactive and very smart, but even though I've done everything I can possibly do the right way, and this is why I found the Facebook group California Mothers of the Voice, um, there's still a lot of a lot of challenges that come with it. And my greatest challenge is, even though I'm a college graduate and I have work experience, I'm dealing with some major financial abuse and post separation abuse. And I'm fighting back and getting some, but it's always a massive battle. And I'm in the kind of walking the fine line of supporting my kids, being available to them as the only parent, and then trying to get myself fully some financially sufficient and trying to survive in LA. So, but there it is. And so I've just dealt with a lot of like plates spin in the air. It's a lot of things I've been juggling, but I really wanted to come on here and share with you just how I've been able to navigate this and not go out of my mind, and still be okay and still be able to enjoy my kids despite having a very difficult ex-spouse and very unsupportive. And you know yeah, I guess that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, that's what people need to hear. They need to hear how you can bounce back and still have a happy home. But first, congratulations to you for taking that step and getting out of that relationship and having a better, happy home for your family.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That choice. I know how difficult that is because that's how I became a single mom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do co-parent, so I am blessed in that way, but
Yes.
we weren't doing well. And instead of doing the work, it was just better to just separate. And I didn't want my kids to see that, see how we were treating each other.
Yes.
Yeah. So that it's a big step and it's so hard and nobody really talks about how hard it is financially on any parent if they are doing it alone.
Yeah.
Especially like those I now he's helping, but in the beginning I was like on my own.
Oh my gosh.
So hard to take care
Mm-hmm.
of two kids plus my rent. And I live in LA too, so I get
Yep.
and gas. It's ridiculous. Um
Yep.
so yeah, but now we split things and it's a little bit more helpful, but still I get it. It's hard.
Yeah, I'm really happy that that's the arrangement. I would love nothing more than to co-parent with my ex. I really, really would in some amicable way, but it's just I can't. It was either his way or the highway. I couldn't, and I didn't agree with what only one child being seen and not the other. That was just very so destructive. I couldn't handle that,
Did
and
he just
so
not want to see the other child, or did he want to have one child and then switch?
no, he decided that he gonna try to say this without crying. He decided to completely reject and abandon our daughter in 2021 because she had a problem. He kind of did the typical man thing. He found someone else on the internet within 20 minutes and moved her on in, so that it was very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a problem with it. She was a 14-year-old girl, you know, and she started. My daughter has kids in the spectrum as a whole. They don't really have a big filter. And she just kind of, I think she said some things and was just very transparent. And, it caused a problem. So about 2 months after visitation started, he said, I'm not picking her up anymore. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, oh, I'm not picking her up anymore. And I said, like later, or we'll try counseling. And they tried counseling. It didn't go well. And because my daughter is very real and transparent and she just speaks the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to. So he decided to stop seeing our son for a while and then decided he was going to try to just kind of only take him and just split the children, like divide and conquer, and only take our boy. But the problem with that is that um, he's so bonded to his sister and to myself that while he loves his father, he didn't want to play the games. Like he's on the spectrum as well, and I think he just saw things in black and white. Like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. And so he told our son after a while, like, I'm gonna pick you up later, and they just never came back.
Wow.
So it's a very heartbreaking story. It's hard for me to talk about it without getting emotional because I can't imagine being a child and feeling rejected by your parent, and they're in the same town. But it's over financial support. My ex-husband does very well for himself and his wife does not. His new wife,
Mm-hmm.
she chooses not to work, and it became a game of who, and I think it's really based on finances and just more interested in like having control over, I get the lion's share, you get the breadcrumbs, and I want you to agree to that, and I want you to be okay with the fact that there's this new woman in the picture so soon, and you just need to agree with it and not object. And I said, well, this isn't healthy, and the courts say different. And so I wanted to really insist on healthier family dynamics and healthier boundaries. And I'm saying this in a very kind way. I insisted on healthier terms and healthier dynamics. We had a family therapist also heavily involved in the situation, and he wanted it his way. And so what ended up happening is I ended up taking on both kids by myself, and I'm always in court fighting for enforcement of support. I actually had an issue today. So I'm supposed to raise the kids by myself with no one around and be in poverty. That's what if he had it his way, or but instead I just keep standing up for myself over and over again. But as I say, this is a really sad situation. I know it sounds terrible, but it really has, through turning to the right resources and turning the rights and building a support system, it really has helped me grow into the woman I was always meant to be, that was kind of subdued in the marriage. So I know that's, trying to say it in the right, it's really
No,
shaped and
that
molded
makes
me. Like
sense.
it's really trial by fire. And I sound great. I know I do probably, but I really decided like this is not going to destroy me. This is going to make me better, and I'm going to make the best of it, because at the end of the day, what matters is I have a beautiful relationship with an amazing girl, an amazing boy, and they are incredible kids, and I love them to pieces. And I guess the love of my children just drive me through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know and subsequently in the middle of this process, I just thought to myself, you're going to court so much, why don't you maybe apply to law school, like make a whole career
Yeah.
out of this
So
whole
this
thing.
whole situation brought you to pursue a career in law.
Yeah, I actually waiting out results of the law school admissions test. I was not a good student, and I do have a degree, but I really struggled. But I decided, I guess I just, I'm gonna be honest. I sat in the kitchen in 2021, a few months after I left my ex. He had cut off support for the first time, told me he wasn't gonna pay, and I was like, okay, this is what am I gonna do? And I had COVID, the Omicron that went around that was really contagious. I
Mhm.
had ducked and dodged COVID, and man, it got me. I went to one party, right? I'm sitting there sick, and the remote job that I got that I thought was going to go permanent, they laid us all off instead. And I'm sitting there, no job, sick, facing Christmas. I have to Instacart the rest of the stuff because I can't even go shopping. Because remember when we had COVID, we couldn't go anywhere.
Yes.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know what? This is going to change my life. I'm not doing this. Like, and I just thought, you know, maybe I want to go into law. And so I contacted a friend of mine who is a lawyer and became an attorney a little later in life and is a single dad. And I went, hey, bud, can I email you an idea? He goes, sure. What is it? And I email him, hey, I want to be an attorney. He goes, okay, let me lay out exactly what this is going to look like for you. And here's some schools, here's some part-time programs. You're not going to be able to go full time and be a mom. It's not happening, but there's a part-time program that'll probably work for you. And the bar is everything. Wherever school you go to, you got to pass the bar. So I kept fostering the idea until I kind of when I had to really learn to fend for myself at times when money wasn't coming in, I just started really dreaming about it. And I said, well, I can either cycle in and out of jobs or I can just go for a dream and just build toward. And I think that's probably kept me sane is building toward a dream. Even if I don't get there and I did my best to get there, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. The woman that I'm becoming is what matters. You know what I mean? Whatever I end up, whatever the results are, is what's going to matter. And so I just decided to let this sculpt me instead. Cause man, my life, I'm not going to destroy my life over one bad partner. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just not going to do it.
Yes, that is so awesome. I love your resilience and your attitude.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the babies, they keep
Yeah.
me motivated every single day. They're just awesome, and I enjoy, and I've had this time with them through the struggles and they've hopped on for the ride and they don't care about material things or money or anything. So they've been like, oh, mom, get us McDonald's. Okay. And so it's just really I've been motivated by that. It's like, I don't know. I just know that like even the divorce and all these trials, I've grown closer to some of my siblings. Also, too, I want to incorporate this because I should be very transparent, honest. One of the things I did before I left my ex-husband is I gave up alcohol and got sober.
Mhm.
And I leaned into the recovery community pretty hardcore, and they carried me through some really bad meltdowns and some days where I felt like I was coming apart. I'd go to a meeting or I'd make a phone call, and that really held me together too. And then my faith in God. I really grew strong in that and just started reading like daily, like Bible verses and daily readings and things like that. And so that really helped me too. I think not turning to substances, and because that was something I used to do. I used to turn to drinking and to cope with things when and in the marriage and stuff, and deciding to feel all the feelings and just move through them and let people help me through it. It was key. It was really, really key.
Hmm. What, that's good advice. What other good advice do you have for moms who are struggling with similar challenges and are considering taking the steps towards sobriety?
I said that the thing I want to really explain too, that the thing about I went into Alcoholics Anonymous and I got a sponsor, and I didn't trust women very well at all. I didn't trust anybody very well. I remember telling my sponsor, like, these people are nuts. She's like, well, it's not the hub of mental health, but you got to start somewhere. So, what really made a difference to me, hands down, was deciding to find another woman who had years of sobriety, sit down with her and tell her the entire truth of my life. I mean, really just tell her what's going on, the down, the dirty, every bit of my, every dark corner, and just decide to trust her. And once I sat down and told her the truth of what was happening, that allowed me to really see it for what it was and not allow me to pull in denial. And she didn't tell me what to do. She didn't say I should do. She never used the word should. She always just agreed with me and just listened and allowed me to just like let me trust her, and being able to share openly with somebody, really, because when you're in a really negative toxic situation, you have these little pockets. Not you have ways you cope and like not think, oh, this isn't happening. Oh, let's live for the good times, right? And when I had the good times, she would just make little reminders, and it wasn't, she didn't push me, she didn't tell me to leave, she didn't tell me what to do, but she just guided me along, if that makes sense. And so I really just say, find somebody that does not know your ex or your husband or your boyfriend or partner, whoever he is. Find somebody that is out to the situation and just tell them what's really happening. Let your mind go ahead and rework it and try to find the solution. That's what I have to say. That made all the difference. And this woman is still in my life today. So, and she
That's
believes
awesome.
all the craziness I've been through, and she doesn't talk me out of my experience or say, "Oh, it's not that bad." No, she would say, "This is really effed up. This is really bad." She
Hmm.
would say it back to me, and I go, "Oh yeah, you're right." So I would say, find one person. It doesn't have to be in the recovery community. It doesn't have whatever. Just find a priest, a minister, whatever, and just tell them what's happening.
Yeah, that's so good because sometimes we want to just stay to ourselves and not
Yes.
let people in. And I think it's really important to let people in so that you are not alone because, darkness can come when you're all by yourself.
Yeah. And I think that, you're, when you have, when you have other people that you could, what I did was I built my circle. I built a circle of people that I could just, sounds like that movie, Meet the Parents, circle of trust, right? But
Yeah,
like, that's
no,
what
we
I
talk about it all the
did.
time on here. You got to build your community.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I ended up doing that, but one of the things I did before I got sober was I was like way out of shape, and I started getting involved in obstacle course racing. So I started getting into Spartan races, and that's a community of itself. And so that's all about women empowerment. And I helped form a group that's I think we have 10,000 members or something. It's called Women Strong. And we just basically encourage each other to like go run a 5K, run a half marathon, try this, and just encourage each other to be, we put all these women together. Whatever you're going through, it doesn't matter. Somebody has a child with cancer, whatever. We all have our challenges, and just you put yourself in the right places and around the right people, you're going to be encouraged. And I really believe you're the average of your five best friends. And I think when you put yourself around people that are going to encourage you, and you're gonna be encouraged. It's like, what do they say? If you hang around the barber shop long enough, you get bound to get a haircut. It's like you really have to build, and that means being vulnerable, and that means you're not always gonna be touchy feely good. You're sometimes gonna feel rejected until you find your people. But find your people, because we are human beings. We're meant to connect and commune, right? And so our people are always out there, no matter where we are. If we're in Montana and California, whatever, there are people there to support you. And what the greatest thing about the internet and how you and I connected is the fact that there are ways to connect with people on the internet that are going to support you.
Right.
And so find your key people to support you in every which way, and just because we all need to be validated, right? We
Mhm.
all need to be reminded of our truth as well. And so find those people, whoever, whatever, it could be a grandfather, whatever. It just, you have to find those people. You cannot do this alone ever. You just can't, you know?
Right. You're so right. And how did activities like CrossFit and Spartan Racing, how did they help you heal and regain your confidence?
So I started CrossFit first. I literally walked in with my size 24 Lane Bryant outfit. I never, I walk in, everyone's like doing muscle ups and stuff. And I'm like, there's no way I belong. And I decided to throw myself into it because I've immediately felt a community feel. And I was right. And I would go and do a workout with everybody, barely keep up, have to have everything modified, and then go outside and cry because the support felt so good, and then I got a little stronger. Then I did the Spartan races, and that is it's a very encouraging, because there's all kinds of people that do these races. Now, I'm not talking about the competitive heats. I'm talking about the open heats. I'm talking, there are people out there with, missing limbs and all these kinds of things. And it's just a place where people gather and are attracted to, that are trying to overcome personal obstacles in their life, maybe physical, maybe mental, whatever. But there's every kind of story. For example, I went out one time to a race in Santa Margarita, and this woman allowed her daughter to go with the father of her child, and the father and child decided to get back at her and shot the little girl and shot himself. She was 8 years old, and she just needed to feel sane. So she went out with us. It made the news, the whole thing. And she just went out with us. And terrible things like that, to a guy that I met had no legs, to, I mean, every story you can think of is out there. And when you connect with the Spartan community, that's what happens. You start growing. And then it didn't matter what size I was. It never, and that's the thing about CrossFit and Spartan races. It never mattered what shape I was in, what size I was, nothing. All that mattered is I wanted to belong, and I just wanted to be a part of things. So everything was modified or scaled to what I could do until I got better. And that, when I would get over when I completed one time a beast in like Tahoe, it took me 11 hours to finish this thing. I went up and down a mountain twice. But you know what? When you do that, you, there's just nothing that can negotiate that. No one can talk you out of that. You did it, and I started doing things in CrossFit and in Spartan races that I never did my entire life. I quit smoking. I dropped the booze. All of a sudden, I'm like, I care about what I eat. Like, it just transformed my life. And I kept connecting with good people that would encourage me. And I just dipped myself into that. Did a couple women's competitions, how to do the skill version, but just every little thing that you can do that you didn't do before, that builds. And I think the confidence, when we're in relationships that are destructive, the confidence are like bricks. You're not going to build a house in one day, right? But you have these little bricks, these little things, these people you meet. I met one of the CrossFit Games athletes. She was teaching a course, and she just looked at me, and I told her my story a little bit. And she goes, just focus on getting 1% better and celebrate those victories every day.
Mhm.
And I literally took that to heart, and I said, I did this different, or I talked back, or I stood up for myself. Even when everything felt bad, I just said, look, but I did this. I made this step forward. And I just kept throwing myself in that over and over again, even though it was intimidating. People were smarter, faster, stronger, whatever. I still to this day can't do a whole pull up, right? But you know what? It's modified. I jump on a box, or I do a band, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I still belong there, and we belong, and wherever we want to belong, and we can be there. And I just know that, like, 3 times with my cross, I probably should say this, but my gym, I go to the owner and say, hey, I can't pay the fee. I am like BROKE broke this month, blah, blah, blah. And he go, well, then you're just going to keep coming, and you're just not going to worry about this month. We got you. That's what would happen. Things like that. When you take these small steps forward in your life, these small miracles keep happening in your life.
Mhm.
It just keeps coming, and they don't stop as long as you keep the faith and believe and connect with good people.
Yes. Yes. How can moms navigate the legal system to ensure that they and their children receive the support they deserve?
Okay. If the relationship was abusive anyway, be prepared for financial abuse. Because if someone's not, it's going to cross boundaries in other ways in their life. If there's been any type, just be prepared for it. And what I did in my situation is I saved, I quietly, like a frog in hot boiling water. Have you heard the term, frog in the boiling water? It just, you keep turning the temperature up until you boil the frog, right? And the frogs don't feel, they never jump out because they don't really understand they're being boiled until it's too late. So I quietly tucked away money and I paid off my credit cards. I made a plan how to get a retainer.
Hmm.
If you can do it, if you can find some way to get some type of legal advice, legal counsel, do it and get ahead of it before you walk out the door. Get yourself armed with all the information. Do not tell your partner you're going to do it. Just stay quiet and and with the support, I know that you're in LA and I'm in LA. I go through Los Angeles County Child Support Services. Let them help, let them go after him, but and get all the information about him, about his employment as you can, so you have it ready. But just, I can't emphasize enough, just talk to the experts. If you're feeling lost or overwhelmed by it, just quietly talk there. Don't let any, and don't let anyone, don't let the mom know, don't let him know, don't let anyone know you're doing it. Be very, very stealthy about the whole thing, but arm yourself with information. And the amount of money you're going to need to leave is probably probably half of what you need. You probably need to save twice. So what I did was I saved money, I paid my credit cards off, and I got a loan for the retainer, and I filed for divorce, and I jumped on getting an order right away.
That's smart.
Yep.
That's very smart. Get all of your ducks in a row before.
All the ducks. Don't
Mm.
let any wander off. Grab those can't size. Grab those passports. Grab those birth certificates. Grab all the valuable jewelry. If you're going to lose some material things,
Hmm.
grab the things you just can't part with, and don't make them big. Trust me in this. Get the birth certificates. Get all those things and put them in a little envelope and have it in a safe place. Give them to a trusted family member, friend, whatever. But just get those things. You do not want to be looking for a social security card, or you don't want to be looking for that later. It's really, really vital and important.
Hmm. Yes. And what other lessons from your journey do you hope listeners will take away from our talk today?
Don't sit with your feelings. Talk it out with somebody. Get it out. Join a support group. And if you don't know where to go for a support group, keep yourself connected, whatever way you can, and connected in safe ways. And one of the ways I really pulled out of some major depressions, because it does happen,
Hmm.
is, aside from caring for your kids, care for yourself. Make that a priority in any little way you can. And also call someone up and ask them how you're doing. There's nothing that will get you out of your head and your circumstances than asking someone else how they're doing and being available to listen. And I know it doesn't seem like, I don't know if that what that sounds like, but I know that saved me so many times,
No,
because all
that's
of a sudden I
great.
didn't care what was happening to me. It was about what they were going through, and I felt good about listening.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really good advice.
Yep.
Let's see. As an inspiring law student, and I'm sorry, you said you passed the bar?
No, I took the law school admissions test. I'm waiting for the results. I've taken it before, but wasn't quite ready. And I am an Uber driver. I know that's really sexy, right? But yes, I am an Uber driver. I made the decision in a period of time when money was okay, and I bought myself a Honda
Mhm.
hybrid, really good on gas, and I drive all over LA. I mainly drive people to the airport because it is just the most lucrative and allows me to be home the most. Because you drive, and people mean business when they're going to the airport. They don't, I've picked up the drunks, I've done that, but it's a lot more civil to take people to the airport, and they're so grateful you got them there on time. So they're good tippers.
That's great. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's
yeah.
definitely sexy to have a job.
It really is, right? But like, how am I going to be the only parent available to the kids, and then they need all this stuff? My daughter doesn't drive. She doesn't. She's not okay to work. Like, we just applied for SSI for her, and my son still needs help too. And so it makes it available for me to be available to them, and then work when I need to. So there are times where I will work at 4 a.m., 3 a.m. Actually, it's a dream to take someone to the airport at 4 a.m. because there's no traffic and no one in the terminals. So I just continually make it work and just have a number I need to meet and keep, meeting it. And then, I'm always trying to get child and spousal. I did get awarded spousal support. So I am always trying to, but then there's times I don't get it. And so I'm always having to work to keep enforcements in the system and keep working that stuff. But, I mean, I just keep a few irons in the fire to make sure things work.
Hmm. Well, how do you hope to use your future legal career to help others?
All right. So there's two things that I have personal experience that I would love to use, but we'll see when I get into law school. One is 99% of the time I went to the IEP meetings and had to advocate for my children and the resources they needed. I've had to do a lot of that. So I'd
Mhm.
love to be an advocate for disability rights. If someone's having trouble getting qualified for disability or workman's comp or whatever, that'd be a great field. However, I know family law can get sticky, but I would love to be that person walking into court with someone who's just terrified and overwhelmed with the situation in the system and say, hey, not only do I know what I'm doing, but I've been there, and because that makes all the difference in the world. I've attended court with other women in my situation. I loved it. I love listening to cases. It's really, the system is not perfect and there's a lot of really crazy loopholes, but I would very, very much like to be someone that helps another person get up on their feet and feel supported and be able to do what they need to do.
That's awesome. I know that you're going to get there and you are going to help so many people.
I hope so.
There's a song that's called Beauty from Ashes, Beauty to no, Beauty from
Yeah, I know. It's a faith-based song,
yes,
and you make beauty from the ashes.
yes, and
Yes,
that
I know exactly what
um,
song you took. I know they have the songs in my head. I know exactly. Yeah, I'm bet that's trying.
Nicole
I'm trying.
Mullen, I think.
What's that?
I said I think it's by Nicole Mullen.
Okay.
But that's what song just came to my mind as I was like listening to your story. You're definitely doing that. And your journey is a testament to resilience and power and reclaiming your life after hardship. And it's it's hard, but you have a beautiful story to tell. And your story is not done. And you're gonna help so many moms and parents who might feel lost.
Yeah, and there's so many people that have been there for me. And one of the most amazing gifts, and I don't know why I'm talking about this, but one of the most amazing gifts is, being able to trust other people in general. But women was tough for me. I didn't have my mom. My mom was alienated from me, and she would not give up and worked really hard to get back in my life. And she has been my rock. But I had trouble with relationships, period. And then, I could not handle dating after I left my ex-husband. I couldn't trust men either. It was hard. And I've had some really beautiful platonic friendships with men also, which has really been so like helpful to me because I know that like not all men are terrible. Like that, it's okay and it's all right for me to be in that place right now where I'm learning to kind of navigate that as well. So my relationships have definitely changed a lot. So I hope to be helpful to people in the future for sure.
Yeah, that is so inspiring too. I hope that one day I find some good friends, platonic men friends, but until then, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had one guy that went and did a race with me. I had another guy that help. I broke my bed frame. He talked me through it through FaceTime and gave me his drill. And you can do this, Jess. And just that kind of thing. It's just been. I've had like platonic dates where we've like just gone to movies, or I didn't have to worry about anything happening just because I was not in a good place at the time. And they were just, "Oh, it's okay. I'm not here for anything else, just to be your friend." Like it's been really nice. So
That's nice. That is good.
yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know or remember? I think you've given us so much great things to. keep in mind and great tools, but is there anything else that you would like us to know or remember?
It's okay to grieve a bad partner.
Mm.
It is so okay. And let that walk through that grief. Let yourself grieve the loss of your expectations. Let yourself grieve the loss of the partner. Let yourself grieve the loss of those toxic connections you have with them. It's all right to be sad. No matter how terrible he was, you have to grieve because there were good times that catch you there, right? And you guys created children together. And I ended up going to a widow who lost her husband. He was a firefighter. And I went to her and said, I'm so sorry. I do not mean to like compare my life to yours, but I'm really having a tough time. She goes, because you're grieving and it's okay.
Mm.
And someone gave me, oh God, I'm going to choke up. Someone gave me the permission to grieve. And and she allowed me to grieve and I was able to share it with her and I started to do it with safe people and that helped me really heal as well because I think we missed that part. We just want to be angry like F that dude. Oh, he's a dead blah blah blah. But you
Right.
know, the anger's got to dissipate and you just have to at the end of the day, I'm going to say this and it's probably like people are going to go, "Oh, what are you talking about?" You got to want the best for them. You
Mm-hmm.
got to pray for them. You got to pray for that other person. They find their way. You got to want good things for them. And I remember someone saying it to me, and I was like, no, he's awful, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? You still got to do it because it's about you and being able to find peace in your life. And because you can't carry around the anger and resentment, because that's you're just going to harm yourself. And you'll never be able to find something else that's really going to fulfill you if you don't work through the anger and the grief. So allow yourself to grieve.
I think I needed that. Thank you.
Good.
Yes, I did. I think I need to learn how to get over the grief. Like, how long can you grieve for? But
I don't think that you get over the grief. I think we walk through it. I
yeah,
think it just keeps changing shape. I think it's like a tattoo, it just stays, but like you learn to live with it, whatever. And it's okay. It was a big part of your life. It was a child or children you had together. That's okay. And you got to give yourself space for that and walk through it. And there's nothing wrong with it popping up whatever it is. It's a part of you. It's like a tattoo or a scar or something you have, it's
yeah.
there and that's fine because it made you who you are today, you know?
Hmm.
And like all these things have to be put into play when it comes to healing because it's a big pivotal moment to leave a bad relationship, and there's all these things to be worked through, especially about how we are to ourselves and how we are to other people because we pick up toxic things that we've done that we're not even aware of. And that was a really hard thing for me to do was to fix how I was toward my children as because there were so many survival mechanisms I had that I had to lose and get rid of. And so allowing yourself to look the grief it just there's a definitely I want to just part with saying that there is a definitely a way to make be whole and it just takes time a lot more time than we think and it's all right like our feelings are okay you know
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. This is such a good conversation, and I really needed to hear this last part, especially.
I'm so glad what was funny was that I was really having a crappy afternoon you know and I was really like and you sent the email I said oh I don't know if I can do that I said nope you're going to get out of your head and you're going to go and you're going to share with somebody else. And you still got to be a flashlight in someone's dark alley, whoever is listening or whatever it turns out to be. I'll stay out of the results of this. It helped me to be able to come on here. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome, and have a good night.
You as well.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.